Hey there, fellow humans. I'm Liam Latham, and this is Chill Beats and Bites, your one-stop talk show for all things chili. Today's topic, the Cold War. Okay, technically the Cold War wasn't actually cold or anything, but it has cold in the name, and we're running out of topics for the show, so deal with it. Introducing a war so cold and tense that I I didn't finish the script for this part. Jane, can you hurry up and hire that new script writer? I'm not sure how much longer I can last out here. Okay, so here we go. Just get the show going already. Okay, so for today's show, I'll be bringing in some famous people that we totally didn't kidnap to help us figure out if the Cold War is still ongoing in current times. We'll be comparing current events to stuff that happened during the Cold War using this totally memorable phrase, peas. You know what that means, right? Yeah, of course you do. Yep. It's obvious, really. Ready? Get those chill beats rolling. I said, get those chill beats rolling. Come on. That's like half the name of the show. Y'all are useless. Sometimes I wonder why I even bothered to hire you. Useless crew. Whatever. The show must go on. First, I'd like to introduce you to Vladimir Putin, the current leader of Russia. Putin is going to tell us all about deterrence. What sort of deterrence was used in the Cold War, Putin? Well, we had lots of nukes. The US had nukes, so we had to have nukes too. If both of us have nukes, neither of us will fire them because the other will just nuke us back. During the Cold War, there was a big race to stock up on nukes in case of a disaster. We have less nukes now, but still lots of them. Just in case. Okay, so I saw this news story the other day saying that you are thinking about using a nuke against Ukraine. Are you actually willing to do it? Well, it's hard to say, really. While these weapons could be extremely useful in our ongoing war with Ukraine, we have to consider the consequences. You see, it's in the best interest of our people to spread communism to more countries and improve our strength as a nation. However, if we were to resort to nuclear warfare, the US and NATO would retaliate. It's important to consider all of the factors of nuclear warfare before taking action. Deterrence between Russia and the US has been ongoing since the Cold War. It's sort of a part of the Cold War that never really went away. So, why do you think NATO is preventing you from nuking Ukraine? Well, NATO doesn't support communism or war. My agenda is completely different from NATO's. They probably don't want me gaining much more power. Okay, cool. Here, eat this. What? Why? It's for the show. How do I know you're not trying to poison me? Just eat the friggin' ice cube. No, I refuse to eat this. If you don't eat it, I'll stick you back in the freezer. Okay. Alright, so, according to Putin, deterrence between the US and Russia is still ongoing since the Cold War. While Putin eats this ice cube, let's look at a fun political cartoon. Oh wow, look at that. Oh, what a great cartoon. I'm counting on you, editor. Alright, Putin, how do you feel after eating that ice cube? I am used to the cold. I live in Russia. Well, that's no fun. Can I go now? Fine, bring in the next guy. For our next guest, here is Donald Trump, previous president of the United States. We tried to get Biden, but we couldn't find him for some reason, so Trump's the next best thing. Now, Trump is going to explain brinkmanship to us. Right, Trump? Oh yeah, so brinkmanship is sort of like chicken. You can cook it and it lays eggs and wrong type of chicken. Yeah, it's more like the game where you want to like scare the other person into stopping, and then it gets more and more tense until eventually one person pulls away. And yeah, in the Cold War, people were like being all passive aggressive and cutting off trade with their enemies and stuff. And Russia set up missiles in Cuba, and they shot down a plane, and they built a wall. And, didn't you also try to build a wall? Yeah, but this is from America. It's different. Okay, yeah, sure. How about nowadays? According to these news sources, Russia and the US are putting trade limitations up again, and the US has been deploying nukes in other NATO countries to threaten Russia. Well, okay, yeah, that's actually not like Cold War. They didn't trade stuff either, and those nukes that got set up in the NATO countries is sort of like when the Russians put missiles in Cuba, except now we're the ones with the missiles, because I made America great again. Yeah, let's go, America. Yeah, sure. Here, eat this ice cube quick. Ice cubes, give it here. So there you have it. Mr. Donald Trump here agrees that forms of brinkmanship are still in use today. The US's use of brinkmanship is related to their ideology of being the world police and preventing the spread of communism. They are trying to push Russia to back down from the war. However, there's a slight difference, as it's unclear whether the US or Russia is trying to push war with the other. Anyways, here's a little meme for you to look at while Donald Trump finishes that ice cube.
It's not one that one movie with the brain freeze.
Whoops. Can somebody clean that up, please? I'd like to welcome Volodymyr Zelensky, current leader of Ukraine, to the stage. Woohoo! He's going to tell us about um, uh, dang it, what was it again? Prestige? That's what they told me to talk about when they were explaining why I was here. You should really ask people to be on your show before you. Hey, you heard it, folks. Time to learn all about prestige. Prestige is all about making you look good. In the Cold War, this was basically a form of propaganda. For example, the US claimed to fight for freedom, and they tried to make communism look bad so they could gain support from other people. At the start of the Cold War, there was a meeting called the Yalta Conference. Leaders of the US, Britain, and Russia at the time got together to discuss what would happen after World War II. Britain and the US were more concerned about prestige and global welfare, while Russia sought personal goals such as security and power. Here, I found this news article about how Russia's invasion of Ukraine is making them look bad, and NATO is gaining influence and prestige because of this. Any thoughts on that? Well, yeah, that's been happening. I'm more concerned about, the actual war than how good everyone looks though. Like, actually, I should really be back there helping my people. Please, can I go now? Yep, that's right. This sort of parallels the goals of Britain, US, and Russia during the Yalta Conference. Britain and the US, members of NATO, are gaining prestige because of the war. Russia isn't too concerned about prestige and rather focuses on their personal goals. This difference in goals also shows an ideological difference. While NATO is trying to move on from the war and encourage peace, Russia is still trying to conquer other nations to gain power. There's also a negative connotation surrounding communism, which ties back to that idea of propaganda and making the enemy look bad. Anyway, here's a meme. Enjoy. Okay, dude, you enjoying your ice? Too bad, it's part of the show. Alright, we're done here. Bye. Alright, bring the next one in. Here's a pretty famous Russian dude, Gorbachev, one of Russia's past leaders.
Wait, isn't that guy dead? He's the one that looks like a bald Harry Potter wannabe, right? With the big funky scar.
Donald Trump? Is that you? Hey guys, why is Donald Trump still awake? And how did he get onto the intercom? Sorry, he got away, and now he's taking over the studio. Dang it! Can you go do something about that? Useless crew. Alright, Gorbachev, tell us about spheres of influence. I think you've got the wrong guy. That sounds more like Stalin's thing. Well, you must know something about it, right? I mean, kind of. I could probably help a bit. Man, you guys are worthless. Like, seriously, how can you go through all the trouble to bring a guy back from the dead and pick the wrong dude? Like, didn't you do your research or something? Maybe I can make this work. Gorbachev, since you're here, can you try and explain spheres of influence to us? Well, sure. Basically, how that worked in the Cold War was Russia spreading its influence to other countries and trying to encourage communism in other countries to gain political influence. America didn't like this, so they did whatever they could to stop the spread of communism. Yeah, sounds about right. Now, according to this news source, there are several countries supporting, or at the very least, not opposing Russia in their recent war with Ukraine. What are your thoughts on this? Well, if that's the case, then yes, it would appear there are still traces of spheres of influence. NATO is also a sort of sphere of influence of sorts. While no individual country has full power over NATO, the US is a superpower and appears to have more influence than most other countries involved. More of a collective sphere of influence, but, still close enough for comparison. Here, eat this. For the show. Why an ice cube? Why not just like a popsicle or something? Well, we used to have popsicles, but somebody left them out in the employee break room. Oh, I'm sorry for your loss. Well, here's a cartoon about spheres of influence. Hey, you gonna eat that ice cube? Nah, I'm allergic. What? How can you be allergic to ice? It's literally just frozen water. I'm dead, remember? What does that have to do with anything? Ah, just go with it. Your people are ruining my image here. Don't worry, nobody watches the show anyway. Commercial break. Commercial break. Do you have COVID? Don't worry, we do too. Buy our unlicensed medical drugs and you won't die. Don't worry, he'll be fine. No, this is all wrong. Here, let's try another person. This can't possibly get any worse, can it? Who is it? Oh, head of the CIA. Oh, this'll be just great now, won't it? You doing okay there? Seem to be having a mental breakdown. Of course I'm having a mental breakdown, not on TV, gosh darn it! You need some help, man. Anyways, I was told to talk about espionage. During the Cold War, spies were sent between the US and Russia so both sides could keep tabs on their enemy and attempt to plan ahead. Many spies were captured as well and used to gain the upper hand in negotiations. The US also spied using aircraft. This is how they discovered the missiles that had been deployed in Cuba. Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. So, according to these news sources, several Russian diplomats in America were recently arrested for espionage. Also, Russia successfully hacked a US database and was able to gain information on recent events, as well as possibly interfere with US elections. Now, how might this relate to the Cold War? Well, spies being arrested now is not much different than it was then. If Russia's still spending spies to America, it could very well be a sign that the Cold War is not truly over. Russia hacking our database is just another form of using the latest technology for espionage, similarly to how the US used spy planes during that Cold War. Russia has something to gain by sabotaging US elections as well. If they can make democracy look bad, it will strengthen support for communism. Has the US been sending spies to Russia as well? I reserve the right not to disclose that information. Also, while kidnapping the head of the CIA is highly illegal, not to mention incredibly stupid, your intentions do not appear to be hostile, so I will not press charges just this once. Well, really? You're actually a pretty cool dude. I always kind of thought the CIA were all businesslike and, didn't have feelings and stuff. I've been having a bad day already, so thanks. I appreciate your kindness. Note to self, do not kidnap head of CIA. Alright. Okay, so, here's a political cartoon thing. Psych! The police are on their way over here right now. You're in big trouble for this one.
Oh, get pranked.
Shut it, Trump. I have a show to run here. The show must go on. Put the studio in lockdown. There's just time to finish this. Seriously? Most people would be running away by now. I think I'll stay and watch. This might actually be entertaining. Okay, we're gonna have to rush the next few parts of it. Here's Boris Spassky. He's a famous Russian chess player. He's gonna tell us about balance of power. Now, Boris, why do you think Russia invaded Ukraine? Well, I think Russia may have felt that they were losing influence with NATO growing in power. They decided to invade Ukraine as a way to regain their power and prevent Ukraine from joining NATO. Russia seems concerned about losing power, much like how the US was concerned about Russia and the spread of communism during the Cold War. Yeah, that actually lines up with this news source here. It says Russia invaded Ukraine because they felt like they were losing control over it.
Sorry, we're out of ice cubes.
How are we out of ice cubes? Don't tell me it was Jerry again.
It was Jerry again.
Dang it! Actually, no. You know what? Just screw it. We can just finish the show without it. Whatever. Here's the last guy. Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is here to tell us about the arms race.
Dude, I'm just an actor. I think you got the wrong guy.
Fine. I'll just do this part myself.
This guy's heavy.
There's still a race for the best weapons going on between the US and Russia. Both countries are global superpowers in terms of military, and tensions are high. This news source claims that the US supplying Ukraine with weapons is contributing to the arms race against Russia. This is sort of like in the Cold War when US and Russia were racing to get best nuclear weapons, except it's just with regular weapons instead of mixed this time. So.
Hey, this is the police. Open up.
So, as you can see, many tactics from the Cold War are still in use today. Therefore, it is not far-fetched to believe that we are indeed living in a modern Cold War. Tactics such as deterrence, brinkmanship, prestige, spheres of influence, espionage, balance of power, and an arms race are still relevant in modern society. Let's give a hand to all of our special guests. Woohoo! Great job, guys! Woo-hoo! Hey, you're under arrest for kidnapping, assault, robbery, drug dealing, breaking and entry, and the illegal possession of nuclear weapons. What? No, I never sold anyone drugs. What a sight. This is some real entertainment right here. Unlike that garbage talk show. There's no way anyone actually watches that. Hey, we have an audience of like at least 17 viewers. Don't go making assumptions like that. Take him to the freezer, boys. Hey, no, that's my thing. You can't do that. No.